Hello and welcome to everyone to the last of our four-night series on sustainability. Montclair Climate Action, in collaboration with the PSEG Institute for Sustainable Studies at Montclair State, would like to welcome you to our partnered Montclair Earth Week series. Together this week, we have been and will continue to be hosting interactive sustainability-focused webinars with Montclair organizations, residents, and business owners, leading up to and concluding today on Earth Day. So far, we've covered the topics of transportation, living, and food systems, and now tonight, business practices, all relating back to the overarching theme of climate action. The goal of this series of conversations is to conduct an informed and engaging discussion where we can obtain and utilize feedback from you, the local community members, and get everyone thinking about what we can do as individuals, as well as the policies we need to adopt as a community. Please note that these are not personal agendas, but rather productive and respectful conversations to help move things along. So today we are continuing the series of conversations with the topic of sustainable business practices. But before we get into it with our panelists, I'm going to start with a little introduction about Montclair Climate Action, and then I'll pass it along for the ISS to introduce themselves. So hello, my name is Allison Tribus. I am part of the Montclair Climate Action. We are a new organization in town dedicated to making Montclair a climate leader. We're a group of concerned citizens who have recognized the urgency of the climate crisis, and we've come together to convince our neighbors that action is necessary now. So through organizing, education, outreach, and lobbying, we hope to convince the government and residents of Montclair to take strong steps to address the climate crisis. We believe that people have an important role to play by taking individual action, but also that we must work together as a community to drive systematic changes in energy use, transportation, waste reduction, just as a few examples. So we hope to use this week's events to start the conversation in Montclair about what we can all do, both at the individual and at the policy level. So now I'm going to let Tirza introduce the ISS.
Thank you, Allison, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tirza Mills, and I'm the program coordinator for the PSEG Institute for Sustainability Studies at Montclair State University, one of many who make up, this dynamic team. The Institute is extremely proud to be part of a collaborative partnership with Montclair Climate Action with the goal of addressing broad sustainability topics. PSEG-ISS runs a variety of initiatives connected to the intersection of sustainability and climate through the development of community-engaged research projects and building of educational programs. We provide opportunities for students, academic faculty, and a broad spectrum of organizations, including corporations, nonprofits, municipalities, and government agencies. Our mission is to shed light on topics revolving around economically, environmentally, and socially sound transportation, living, food, and business, just to name a few. We have some new and exciting sustainable business-related future projects in development, so stay on the lookout for that this summer. To learn more and connect with PSEG-ISS, you can visit our website, montclair.edu/ISS, in addition to our variety of social media outlets. That being said, I'll now turn things back over to our moderator for the night, Allison.
Thank you, Tirza. Okay, so tonight we have three amazing panelists, and I'm very excited to introduce them. First, we're going to introduce Kai Azril, and then we're going to introduce Lisa Johnson, and finally, Christine Ellis-Petrick. So I'm just hoping that when these folks introduce themselves, they're going to tell us a little bit about themselves, their organization, and how they're engaged in contributing overall to the sustainability within our community. And they each have a lot of information to share, so I'm going to hand it off first to Kai.
Okay, I hope everybody can hear me all right. And yeah, my name is Kai Azril. I'm the Bureau Chief for the Bureau of Sustainability at the Department of Environmental Protection. And the functions that we have at the department is to encourage and educate businesses and communities especially those in overburdened communities, on lots of different things. And one of them is sustainability. Now, sustainability for us means things like pollution prevention, waste reduction, conservation of energy and water, food waste reduction. So there's lots of different avenues that we can take when we talk about sustainability. But today I'm going to focus on one of the particular programs that we are quite proud of at the department. And that's the Sustainable Business Registry. The New Jersey Sustainable Business Registry is a program that we developed in combination with the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers. This partnership came together because we had a grant from EPA to develop a program that would attract the attention of businesses looking to be recognized for their sustainable actions. So what we did was we developed a website and a program that would provide resources for businesses, a mechanism for them to get enrolled, and then identify a lot of their sustainable actions that they've taken over the course of the years that they've been in business. Now, one of the things that we asked them to do is to identify a measurable benefit along with any kind of economic benefit that they might have gotten. So I'll show you in a couple slides later of what that actually results in. But basically, want to let you know what we at the department do for this particular program. Well, we review and approve the applications. We definitely promote the registry across the entire state. And we manage the website, do things like social media, and provide a newsletter and lots of research into new resources that we can put onto the website so that businesses can review and adopt some of the actions that we are promoting. Now, just to give you an idea of who's on the registry, well, we have over 34 sectors represented. So that goes from things like nonprofits can get on there, but also your typical Main Street type businesses, from dry cleaners to, well, looks like almost every Main Street these days has a brewer on it. So there's a good number of businesses that are represented on here. But you also have your typical industrial types, like in manufacturing, businesses that we'd like to see a lot of sustainable actions in, like hospitality. So there are a number of, and what the list shows you is that most anyone can identify sustainable actions and be included on the registry. Even ones that have maybe you would just consider like office type things, like maybe an architecture firm or other entities that, you know, on first glance, you might not really recognize, like, what does fitness and instruction have to do with sustainability? But they all do. So, you know, any business can come up with these, any business can meet the eligibility requirements that we've put out there. They just have to think about how they're doing their business and what they can do to be sustainable. So we have 464 businesses that are on the registry, and you know, we have representation throughout the state. So it's not just North Jersey or South Jersey or in the Trenton area that's doing this. No, it's spread out throughout the state. Now, I told you about the different kinds of things that these businesses who do register have to tell us. Well, they have to tell us how they are being sustainable. So one of those things has to be measurable, and another one of those things has to be economic. So our sustainable business the registered businesses have accumulated over 98 million kilowatts of electricity saved, 98 million gallons of water saved. We've done things like saved $15 million from the sustainable actions that they've committed themselves to. So there's a lot of good that comes out of taking sustainable actions. Now, not all of these actions are going to be resulting in something that's measurable, but because you do things like you get to register, you could do stuff like community involvement, sponsor a Little League team. That's being part of the community, because sustainability isn't just about the environment. It's not just about money, but it's also about community. So we definitely want to recognize those efforts that people make. It's just sometimes those can't really be counted, but they can be reported. And if you go through and look at any facility that's on the registry, you can see individually what they've contributed to being sustainable. So we were asked a question as to what kind of challenges we're facing. Well, I have to tell you, program awareness is one of our biggest challenges. And program awareness, especially in overburdened communities, is an even bigger challenge. So what do we do to meet that particular challenge? Well, we do things like put information out on social media. We do presentations like this one. We do a lot of networking. And believe it or not, when COVID wasn't here, we were doing a lot of canvassing. That means going out and visiting shops one by one. And we're going to return to that as soon as we can. So there's a lot of things we can do to develop program awareness, but you know, networking is especially important to us, and we want to do more. And for those people out there, if you feel like, well, we haven't networked with you, please feel free to reach out to us so that we can get our message going. Talking about messaging, well, messaging is what we are doing when we are talking to folks. And we don't want to just preach to them that, hey, you got to do this because it's the right thing. There's a lot of things that we have to do as far as the challenges goes, and that messaging is another challenge. So we talk about return on investment, ROI. We talk about risk reduction. That's, you know, saying, hey, if you do these things, you reduce the risk that you're going to experience. Maybe that's risk with the environment. Maybe that's risk with your supply chain or the vendors that you're dealing with. So brand value is another thing that we try to include in our messaging, that if you do things that are sustainable, your brand value goes up. You know, you see on the slide there, keeping up with the Joneses and FOMO, fear of missing out. Well, that's another thing that we're trying to do, because we do post everything that a registered business is saying, hey, this is what I do. And then other businesses see that and say, wow, we should be doing that. So that's another thing that we try to do with our messaging, is try to get businesses to recognize, hey, other businesses are doing this, you should be too. Leadership vision is another challenge. Without leadership vision, it's very unlikely that a business is going to do much when it comes to sustainability. Top-down corporate responsibility is a difficult thing. If it doesn't exist, it's hard to produce. But what we can do is talk to them in a way that they have to understand that's a pursuit of excellence. It's a pursuit of perfection when you do something that's sustainable. Now, the other way that sustainability comes about when it's not top down, it can be grassroots. So getting grassroots people to demand that a business be sustainable, that communities engage in that kind of discussion, is very effective. So by people who have the consumer power to spend their money where they want, well, they can do it at those businesses that are on the registry. And that's some of the things that we hoped for when we built it. Now, one of the other things that I do want to touch on, and I'm going to be real quick through these, but there are other ways that we do communicate what we're doing. And that is our connection with Sustainable Jersey. There's a Green Business Recognition Program that Sustainable Jersey has. And a community can develop their own plan, and they get 10 Sustainable Jersey points. But if they use the Sustainable Business Registry as part of their Green Business Recognition Program, they get 20 points. So if you're part of a town and you want to get 20 points instead of 10, well, do it through the Green Business, do it through the Sustainable Business Registry. The last thing I want to really tell you here is that, you know, like I said, we don't just do the Sustainable Business Registry at the Department of Environmental Protection. These are some of the other things that we work on. We have the Sustainability Speaker Series. We have the New Jersey Wastewise Business Network. There's the Small Business Assistance Program. We also provide things like case studies and guidance documents and infographics, which we post on our website and we send out through our Facebook page. We also provide different awards and recognitions throughout the year. So those are the things we do. And like I said, if you ever needed to reach out to me and say, hey, you don't network with me, I would be glad to. So my information is there. If you can't get a hold of me, you can contact one of the people on my staff who's especially involved in the Sustainable Business Registry, and that's Gina Gambacorda. Thank you very much. Like us on Facebook.
Great, thank you, Kai. That was amazing. So much good information, and I hope that you found some new people out there to take advantage of those great programs to help them be more sustainable. So next, we're going to hop over and speak with Lisa Johnson. She's going to introduce herself and all the various things that she works on.
So my name is Lisa Johnson, and I wear a couple different hats. One of the hats is I'm the president or the chair of the Montclair Center Business Improvement District, located in Montclair Center. I'm also a business owner, which I'll touch on in a little bit. So the Montclair Center BID is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're quasi-governmental. We're located in Montclair Center. If you're familiar with the area, we're from our area is from the Art Museum all the way down to the fire station. And we collect a special assessment tax on the properties located within the BID, and that's used to fund our programming, our staff, everything that we do. We also fundraise, and we do get sponsorship money as well. Bids there's about 90 bids in New Jersey. If you're not familiar with them, look around because they're popping up. They're getting really popular. And then, like I said, so I'm the chair of the bid. I've been doing that for about 2.5 years, but I've been on the board for about 10 years. And it's volunteer position. I don't get paid, you know, it's feeds my soul. I love what I do. You know, what the bid does is we provide services for resilience and regeneration of downtown business communities. And we're actually the only bid in Montclair. So municipalities can have multiple bids depending on how many commercial districts they have. We have the only one. Hopefully, you know, other districts will eventually develop their own bids. So that's the bid. And then my business is called Culture Couture. It's in Montclair on Church Street. And I've been in business for about 18 years. When I first opened my doors, I was not sustainably minded. I carried fast fashion, didn't look at labels. You know, I just sold what I felt like the market wanted. And maybe about 10 years ago, I started to catch on to things as far as, you know, how things are produced, you know, why they're produced, where they're produced, what it means, what kind of pollution that they're creating. And I really started to change my brand to fit this more sustainable minded mindset that I had and that I wanted my customers to have as well. So right now my product lines include a lot of fair trade merchandise. You know, when I sell clothing, it's, you know, made with organic cotton or post-recycled material. I make sure all my product lines are ethically sourced and produced. I also have a lot of upcycled products. I used natural materials. You know, a lot of my companies also produce in the USA. So I really pay attention to not just the processes, but the companies as well. So what are their mission statements? You know, where do they source their material? You know, where do they see their organization going? So everything kind of plays into itself, right? It all works together. And you can see, so this is a photo from my door on the left. You could see that I am a sustainable business with NJDP. So it was nice to have that segue. Thank you, Kai. And I'm also certified with the Montclair Green Business Recognition Program, which I'll talk about in a little bit too. So it said before, the Montclair Business Improvement District, it runs from all the way up South Mountain Avenue to Maple Avenue. And I think we're about 3 miles all the way down. We provide services, like I said, for regeneration, revitalization. We do all the beautification in the district. So we supply services that supplement what the city already provides as far as keeping the street clean, street furniture. We market the district, we put on events, we market events. And as far as sustainability, one of the things that we do that I'm really proud of is we provide a lot of services for the business community so that they can keep learning, they can do well, they can expand their brands. And we also have a clean, safe, and green program, which includes, like I said, cleaning the district, but also planting, right? So all of the flower baskets you see, all of the green space that you see, it's maintained by the BID. And then safety is a big thing too. So in 2013, we helped to, we helped to have the only, so Montclair has 100 miles of streets, and the only complete street that Montclair has is in Montclair Center. It's on South Park Street. And it was from the help from the BID. So we were able to secure this DBIS loan, which has no interest for 10 years. So that we were able to help the township to have our first complete street in Montclair in the BID. So that's something that I'm also very proud of that we're able to do. And then the other thing I was able to do last year, this is a lot of words on camera, on Zoom, you don't have to read them all, but I was able to draft and pass the first sustainability statement of any BID in New Jersey that I know of. I mean, I did my research, I'm pretty sure we're still the only one that has one. Maybe another caught on since then. But yeah, so not that we weren't doing this stuff. We were always protecting, enhancing the district's natural, cultural, human assets, resources. We have a strict procurement policy. We buy local. We support local businesses with our procurement policy. Where we recycle. We're considerate of where we get our material and what we throw out. All greening it. I'm sorry.
Oh, Lisa, I just wanted to ask, what do you mean by complete street? Just for us who don't know.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes I just go off and I assume everybody knows that. So complete street is this idea that streets are for everybody. So it's not just, I probably don't have a photo of it in here in my slides, but I should have included it. So complete street redesign is streets are for everybody and they're safe. So it's not just for cars. This whole idea that streets are only for cars, we need to forget about that. So complete streets have bike lanes, wider sidewalks, bump outs. So you've got less street to cross for pedestrians, street trees. What am I missing? So
hallelujah. I want all of those things for all the streets.
Yeah, so actually Montclair, the municipality passed the safe streets into their master plan. So it's kind of like complete streets. It's the same premise, so that when streets are developed, they've got to follow this safe street criteria, which is really important. And actually Bloomfield Avenue is getting a redo over the summer, and they're going to include things like bump outs, just little things to try to make the street a little safer. So the BID is a huge proponent of, creating this safe environment for pedestrians, for shoppers, for businesses. It's in our mission statement. So yeah, pay attention to BIDs and pay attention to complete streets, because those are two things you're going to start seeing a lot of, at least in New Jersey, with development, resilience, regeneration, redevelopment going on.
That's great. I have to say, going downtown with your car is not fun. So when I go downtown, because I live in Upper Montclair, I bike. And I always park my bike before I get to Bloomfield, because I know I don't want to ride on Bloomfield.
Yeah, Bloomfield's really scary. We're trying to push bike lanes. The only thing is Bloomfield Avenue is a county road, so we don't have as much say in what happens with that. But if you know what's going on with the Hudson Greenway, we're trying to push at least bike lanes on Glenridge Avenue. So from where the path is going to end or begin. So at least we'll have some bike lanes up to Bloomfield Avenue. But yeah, that's something, I've always been trying to figure out, like, how can we make this safer so people feel, better about getting on their bikes. So right now we're still kind of working on that problem.
I think a lot of it is those drivers like to do the double parking, like parking in the drive lane.
And it's not just that. So we've also looked at doing a road diet on Bloomfield Avenue. So a road diet is basically where you narrow the lanes so people drive a little slower. Because right now, I mean, the speed limit's 25, but nobody goes 25. People
Yeah.
go 35, 40, and now you have people double parking. And that's something to take in consideration as well as far as urban planning, because with, you know, COVID, now you're getting a lot of delivery, right? So you're getting people double parking, dropping off, picking up, you know, picking up food. And we need to take that in consideration when we redesign these areas, right? We reimagine our streets. Like, what is this going to look like, so that you don't have double parking and people,
Right.
you know, swerving and almost hitting somebody, or pedestrians not being able to see when they're trying to cross the street.
Yeah.
So that's it. So our landscape's always changing. And the thing that the bid does is we do a lot of research, right? So we look at our demographics, we look at consumer trends. And honestly, right now, the consumer trend for sustainability and eco-friendly products is huge. That's a big trend coming up. So
Right.
it's good that we've got that, you know, the time and the resources to look into this. And from that, we're able to share that with our businesses, which is really helpful.
Yeah. And drive more street and, you know, foot traffic to the
Exactly. So another thing I want to talk about, which Kai mentioned with the Green Business Certification Program, is that Montclair had their own Green Business Certification Program. And Ray Russell, Montclair's Sustainability Officer, you know, started this with PSE&G Institute with Montclair State, and I obviously helped out as well. This was just from the website, a little article they had, and you can see the leaf is what I had on my door. So that was a decal we gave out to all the businesses that in Montclair that we were able to certify as a green business. Similar to the Sustainable Business Registry, we had criteria we had to follow, or, you know, people had to hit so many of them. It was great because there was a lot of great press about it. You can see here, it was in BaristaNet. This was back in 2016. And we also had it in the Montclair Times. So we actually got a lot of good press for it as well. And, you know, how the bid was able to help out was getting the word out, right? So there's no master list of businesses in all of Montclair, but the bid has one. So we're able to reach out to our businesses, get the word out, see who's interested, you know, get some feedback. It was a really positive experience. And then, so I was a certified green business, and this was the diploma, the certificate that I got from the Montclair Center bid, which was really cool. So, you know, when you were certified, you got a letter, you got a certificate, and then we also had a really nice meet and greet that was sponsored by the bid. So it was at one of our meetings. It was open to the public. You know, everybody was invited, and you know, everybody who was a certified business got to feel really good about themselves and kind of explain what they did and why they, you know, why are we green? Why is it important? Kind of get the message out, which was nice. And then this is a certificate that I received from the DP, my Certificate of Innovation and Sustainability, piggybacking on what Kai mentioned. So very proud of that. So I have both of these certificates displayed in my business. I think am I over 10 minutes?
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. This is all so interesting. I want to open up a business now.
Yeah, you know, come to the bid. We'll set you up with classes, with marketing. You know, we've got really great social media where we love our businesses. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm involved with the organization, because, you know, being able to foster entrepreneurialism in people and have them succeed is a really great feeling. So actually, this is an aerial view of I mean, it's just a drawing of the complete street that's actually on South Park Street. So like I said, 100 miles of streets in Montclair. We have one block that's a complete street. So we got to do better. But I want to say I'm also a PhD student at Montclair State. And this is my area of study, measuring the effectiveness of business improvement districts as a standard and model for sustainability design and economic growth. So dissertation, still working on it. You know, hopefully I'll get some good information soon from that. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. That was so great. I loved all that information. I'm very excited about everything.
Thank you.
Now we're actually going to hear from another business owner who owns a cafe that has 2 locations within Montclair that I am a patron of because I love my coffee. So I'm really happy to introduce Christine Ellis-Patrick.
So I am Christine Ellis-Petrick. I am co-owner and head roaster for Java Love Coffee Roasting Company. And we do have 4 locations and we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary. We started in Bethel, New York, about a mile from the home of Woodstock. So the Woodstock Music Festival. So thus the love part of Java Love. And or that was the beginning of the love part of Java Love. It's grown since. And then we opened in Upper Montclair, and a few years later in happily in the bid. And I cannot reiterate and share how much the bid does for businesses. So Lisa, thank you, and everybody with the bid. You guys are amazing. Amazing partners to be able to work with an organization that is like-minded and has very similar, we're all headed in the same direction. So that's awesome. And then we opened our newest location in Suffern, New York. So right over the New Jersey, New York state line, and that's where our roastery is. So we roast all our coffee right there, and it's sustainability. I mean, when I talk about the love part of Java Love, that it really started as part of our name because of where we were from, but we realized, Jody Dawson, who's the other owner, and I realized that really coffee is just the vehicle for us to do what we want to do in this world. And that is is the bottom line, make it a better place for all of us. And when we talked about how does our company, or how have we taken on sustainability and environmental practices, and really when we looked at it, it was just to protect the health of our team, of all of the people who work with us, and also the communities we're in, that it's not just as a business, it's not just about what we do, and we're not insular. It's about how we impact our communities. And so when we started looking at we looked at sustainability from the beginning. And it really, a lot of that started with the farmers we work with. So we get our coffee beans from every major growing region around the world. And all the farmers we work with are sustainable farmers. Either they're Rainforest Alliance certified, they're Fair Trade certified, they're organic certified. And looking at the care that they give, and I think this, Lisa, you talked about this a little bit, that initially you started with just kind of the not really paying attention to where your products were coming from and the impact they were having. And then once you started doing that, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to buy from this person instead of this person, and maybe it's $1 more, but the impact that buying that product for $1 more, that dollar goes a gazillion different ways, and you get it back a million times over because of the quality and the message of what you're doing. So when we started, certainly it was taking lessons from the farmers and knowing what they were doing, and then trying to almost mirror what they were doing in our practices. So if they're so focused on creating as little waste as possible and recycling as much as possible, how do we do that in our stores? How do we do that in our roastery? So we looked at shifting our sustainability practices and operations from this short term to a longer term. So it's how do we do it day to day, week to week, and then how does that begin to build up over time? And I can tell I can tell you in the world pre-COVID, we were knocking it out of the park. It has been challenging to be, I don't know how other people feel, but it's, for us, it's been challenging to be sustainable and in this time of COVID, because a lot of our practices were, not, if you had something to drink in our store, it was either in glass or porcelain, and we gave as little throwaway items out as we possibly could. Well, with COVID, that completely changed. And we are just now getting back to people being able to bring, we use mason jars to give people their coffee beans or their ground coffee. And for a long time, we were not accepting those. And now we're getting back into accepting. Why is hold on, sorry. For some reason, there we go, sorry. But we just now are getting back into our real sustainable practices. So that being said, when we have been giving paper cups to everybody, we switched to everything, the highest grade of biodegradable and recyclable materials we could. So we have, as a company, we just sunk a lot of money into, if we've got to hand this out, we're going to make it the best product we possibly can. So when I think, Kai, you talked about kind of top-down corporate responsibility and in sustainability, and it's funny because we have we kind of had a top-down, and to be very honest, our best sustainability and recyclable programs have come from the bottom up. They've either come from customers or they've come from our team members. And if you own a company, just listen to the people who come in your store, listen to the high schoolers, the college students who are working with you, because they are brilliant. And we, like I mentioned, the mason jars, we were recycling, we were giving people, if you brought a bag back, a coffee bag back, we would refill that bag. Well, after a while, the bag got kind of icky, and we were just like, well, how else can we do this? And it was one of our staff members who said, why don't we just do it in like mason jars? And it was, like, oh God, why didn't we think of that? But by doing
Awesome.
that, we're not creating the waste to begin with. You're not coming in and buying a bag of coffee. You're just like, hey, I have, and you don't have to buy a mason jar from us. You can bring anything in. If you want to bring in a grocery bag from Whole Foods, we'll put a pound of coffee in the grocery bag. We don't care. As long as we don't have to give you trash. We don't have to give you something else to carry your coffee in. So really, I mean, and the reason I have our mission and vision up here is because this is for us. I mean, and this again, it didn't come from Jody and I. This came from our team, and it is, that I think authenticity and integrity through coffee. That's everything we do. So when you and not just for us, but for any company I think you work with or you want to purchase things from, look at their practices. Look at how not just maybe what they say in a logo or a catchphrase, but really what are their practices and what is their authenticity, and are they practicing what they preach, you know? And I think, you know, I think the programs that are, you know, the sustainable business programs are amazing. And if you can have a choice to, you know, go to Lisa's shop that has, you know, and our shops that have the logos, do it, because that's the only way we're going to get to continue doing what we do. So, and our vision is to make the world a better place, one bean at a time. And literally, that's what we do. We, right now, I mean, the coffee industry creates a lot of waste. But like our grounds, we have been working with Java's compost for a very long time in composting all of the grounds that come out of our Montclair shops. In the Catskills, we give all of our grounds to farmers who use it in their compost. And one of my favorite things we're doing right now is I'm bringing the chaff that is a byproduct of our coffee roasting, and some of the Montclair chicken folks use it as bedding for their chicken coops because it's fluffy and it is also a odor neutralizer, which is awesome. So this is, I mean, you know, again, this is just what we believe. We believe in, and again, this came from our team, that we believe in true social justice and self-expression, as well as sustainability, community, and love. These all sound a little, I don't know, maybe lofty, but it as a business owner and as a consumer, if you know what you're tethered to, if you know what you believe in, it makes purchasing and supporting businesses that believe in what you believe a heck of a lot easier. Hopefully some of that made a little bit of sense. And
It did. It made a ton of sense.
so I will toss it back to Allison, or
Thank you,
who's taking over?
Christine. Yeah, I'll take
Okay,
it.
awesome.
So I just want to personally say thank you for the care that you take and the thoughtfulness into every aspect of your business. I have to say, even when I go in to get coffee, I bring my reusable mug and they give me a discount like that.
Oh, yeah.
Every little thing. And I'm the strange one that goes to a restaurant with my own takeout containers. Like, so
Which is great. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just got to think about things like that. And I only go to restaurants I'm comfortable doing that with, you know, because they know me and, you know, so I think it's wonderful. So, and I also want to just say that sustaining communities is being sustainable. So we just, you know, surviving through COVID and sustaining the community, that's being sustainable to me. I had a quick question for both Lisa and Christine. How hard is it to find suppliers or vendors that are producing sustainably? And do you have like resources that you use to find those vendors?
I'll go first. It's not easy, honestly. You know, when I switched over to, you know, having sustainable brands, fair trade brands, my prices went up. Some people got it, some people didn't. It was just,
Yes.
you know, it's part of business. I guess that's a challenge is getting people to understand why they're paying a little bit more for a product when it's made ethically, when, you know, people who are making it are paid a fair wage, when it's safe working conditions. So, you know, there's cost issues there. And as far as finding companies, there are conferences and trade shows that are specific for fair trade, sustainably produced like industries, and even generic conferences and trade shows will have a sustainable category within them, so that, you know, this trend, it's blowing up and it's becoming normalized. And going back to you know, you bringing your reusable takeout containers to restaurants, we need to start normalizing that, right? So now New Jersey has this, certain municipalities have a plastic bag ban, and they're going to be banning all bags, right? Takeout bags. We have to make it normal to bring your own bags with you, to bring a straw or bring utensils. Like, it's not weird to do that. So all of this is going to take time, but I'm really positive that we're going to overcome this challenge, and people are going to see the importance of what needs to happen. But yes, going back to the original question, it is difficult, and there are difficulties, but there's a lot of successes with it as well.
Right.
Yeah, and to I exactly what Lisa said, that there are conventions and organizations. We are lucky enough. We belong to a global organization called Specialty Coffee Association, and it is an organization that only deals with like companies like us that are small, and specialty coffee is literally the top 20% of all coffee sold in the world. So it is, it's very focused on smaller farming, like no large farms, and they work very, very hard to provide the roasters and the cafes with guidance, and with, they make it much easier for us to understand what companies are coming out with sustainable products, who we can work with, to just make sure we have the top, kind of the top brands of everything that's out there. And they even, SCA, so Specialty Coffee Association, they have a website where customers can go and they can find the most sustainable or most environmentally friendly coffee brewers, and cups for their home use. So it's a great resource, and I love that they have this consumer facing project as well.
Cool. Actually, before we go on to the next question, we do have a few questions coming in. Tirza wants to tell everyone about the survey so we could gather feedback from everyone on the call so that we can, make some changes and work with Montclair on some things that are on people's minds.
Yeah. Thanks, Allison. Before we get to some more questions, but preferably following the conclusion of today's event, while the content is fresh in everybody's minds, we invite you to answer a few questions and voice your opinions about the best course of action for pursuing sustainability within Montclair and the surrounding area. Provided in the chat, you're going to see a link pop up shortly to a Qualtrics survey. Your feedback will help to improve and inform the future projects of Montclair Climate Action and PSEG Institute for Sustainability Studies. So we'll put the link there. Your feedback is greatly appreciated, and I'll turn things back over to Allison.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, so firstly, one of the attendees would like to thank everyone, and she wanted to know, how do small businesses as they grow maintain their integrity?
Oh, wow, great question. Is it okay if I just jump in? I just jumped in.
Yeah, please
okay,
do.
There we go.
Yeah. Go for it.
I think for us, I think maintaining our integrity that's where we listen more than we talk, and we give back more than we take. I think if you listen to your customers, if you listen to, again, your team, they're all brilliant, and if you're open to hearing what they want and what they know, you don't have to work. You just go, give me an idea. Okay, let's go implement that, or let's at least try it. Yeah, I think it's listening.
Awesome. Cool. All right.
I want to add too,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think what Christine said, and I think also education is big on that too, as far as educating your customers and your consumers on, what it means to be sustainable, why we're making these sustainable choices, why we carry what we carry. So I think that's really important as well to maintain our integrity. Little explanations go a long way. Sometimes we don't even realize it.
Cool. Cool. I have a question for Kai. Can you just tell us a little bit about the Small Business Assistance Program and, if there's anyone on the call who has a small business, some of the things that they could take advantage of?
Okay. Well, the Small Business Assistance Program, it focuses on environmental assistance. And that is, a lot of that has to do with state and federal regulations that impact those small businesses. So let's take a coffee roaster, for example. A coffee roaster may have an oven, and that oven is used to do the coffee roasting. If that coffee roasting causes a problem like too much of a good aroma, well, this is true. This happens. It becomes an odor issue. And they can find a coffee roaster can actually have a problem with one of their neighbors because the coffee is still considered an odor. So the coffee roaster has to do certain things in order to comply with the standard that we have in New Jersey for not causing undue odors. So that's where the Small Business Assistance Program can possibly help with finding out, well, what is actually causing the odor to happen? How can that odor be mitigated? And what technologies can be incorporated to reduce those odors? So that's just one example. But there aren't a lot of coffee roasters that we end up helping. A lot of the businesses that we do end up helping are the ones that are heavily regulated. So those can be like gas stations, auto body shops, dry cleaners. So people that manufacture goods, these are the people that are still small businesses, but have some real environmental liabilities. So we help them with being permitted for the actions that they're doing. We help them with the compliance, the record keeping that goes along with it, any submissions that they may have to do. So we do a lot of hand holding for those businesses that need it. And a good number of times we try to work with the trade associations that they're members with so that we educate their trade associations and the trade associations help us provide the compliance assistance that's necessary. However, this doesn't mean that the only regulated ones are getting assistance. We are also helping any business who contacts us that might be interested in things like pollution prevention opportunities, energy efficiency. We try to make sure that businesses understand the opportunities that they have with sustainability. So we will run the gamut for any business that calls us.
Awesome. And just a quick question, if I was interested in looking for a local business that was on the registry, are they listed online? If I like Google the New Jersey?
Yeah. So the website is registry. It is. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's registry.njsbdc.com.
Great.
So registry.njsbdc.com. I could put it in the chat.
Cool. Thank you. Awesome. We only have a few minutes left. I'm going to try and squeeze in one more of these questions. We have two questions that we didn't get to, so I apologize to the participants. So the question is, what was the most difficult product to transfer over as sustainable? So I guess that would be for Lisa or Christine.
Well, so for me, I think the most difficult thing is that, so I buy a lot of fair trade products, and they're produced in other countries. One of the companies I deal with, Mali Design, they produce merchandise in Cambodia, and what they do is they rescue women who were sold into the sex industry, and they give them jobs and help them out. And when I have things shipped over from Cambodia, that's a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. So for me, the most difficult thing is balancing out, helping communities in need, versus the environmental impacts of procuring these products. So that's, for me, that's the most difficult thing for me, at least.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just, wow, thank you for working with those communities. That's amazing. I think for us, it's very similar. It's I think the biggest thing is knowing what people stand for. So there are a million fair trade organizations. And so knowing what those different fair trade organizations stand for is really important. So it's doing research, and it's and I think it goes back to what Lisa said earlier. It's educating. The best thing we can do is educate the customer about what these costs are, and what changes are coming and why. And that as climate change continues, we're going to see prices on everything we do that has anything to do with sustainability go up in price. And so we need to educate our customers.
Yeah. I mean, I think prices will probably go up all around, even for non-sustainable products. I see we're at the hour, so I just want to let everyone know that we were recording this, and it will be available if anybody needs to rewatch it, if they missed anything. It'll be on the Montclair State University website. So thank you to the panelists. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
I'm in awe, and I hope that I get to meet you in person one day.
Thank you for having us.
You're
Come on
welcome.
over for coffee.
Yeah, I'll be there. Tirza, did you want to say anything, or are we?
Yep, I'll just plug in real quick. This, concludes, as Allison said, our Earth Week events. Thank you to our amazing group of panelists, Kai, Lisa, and Christine. Thank you so much. And to you, the attendees, for joining us this evening. Please feel free to connect with us at PSCG ISS on our various social media channels, and visit montclair.edu/ISS for more information on the Institute. Also, you can catch our new podcast, The Refresh, Thursdays at 3 p.m. and again on the following Mondays at 11 a.m. On 90.3 WMSC FM. Once again, I'm just going to drop the link to the survey in the chat. It'll remain open throughout the week, and we greatly appreciate your participation and feedback there. Have a great night, and happy Earth Day, everyone.
Happy Earth Day. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.